goes for gold.
What a performance!
On NBC and Peacock.
KUAM TV8, first on Guam. KUAM News headlines are presented by Calvo's Insurance, protecting Micronesia for 85 years. Matson and the Adahi Itano program. Apply at matson.com. New Jeep Gladiators up to $7,000 off now at Cars Plus. Named the best vehicle for adventure in 2024. Get your Jeep Gladiator today at Cars Plus. McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it. And King's Restaurant, serving your local breakfast, lunch, and dinner favorites for over 45 years.
Ahead on KUAM News Primetime.
Senators weigh a bill proposed by the governor of Guam seeking to give her legal authority to manage the Guam Department of Education. The ongoing debate amid the education crisis coming up.
It's not over. Candidates for mayor and vice mayor all advance to the general election after the GEC reverses its decision.
All 8 athletes from Guam have wrapped up their competitions and ready for the Olympics closing ceremony this weekend. I'm Nick Delgado with your Pacific Olympic Voyage coverage coming up.
Half a day and good evening. Welcome to KUAM News Primetime. I'm Tomas Manglonia.
And I'm Destiny Cruz. Happy Fresco Friday. Thanks so much for making us a part of your day.
Amid the crisis facing public schools, lawmakers discussed the governor's proposal that seeks to give her the legal authority to manage the Guam Department of Education.
Senators debating the Magahaga's bill today.
Where is the governor of Guam amid the ongoing crisis facing the island's public schools? It's a question raised by some lawmakers during the Guam Department of Education's struggle to reopen campuses for the new academic year. The governor making it clear in a special address Thursday night that under Guam law, she does not govern Guam DOE. The Magahaga later proposing her bill aiming to change just that.
Grant me statutory authority over the Department of Education, and I will be responsible for it throughout the remainder of my term. Give me the legal authority to fix it, and then you can have the right to hold me accountable.
Senators obliging the governor's request for special session to discuss her proposed legislation today, which seeks to transfer all duties, responsibilities, and authority of the Guam Education Policy Board and Superintendent of Education to her during the remainder of her term. However, the bill as written raising concerns among senators.
What's obvious, this bill means I want the power, because if I don't get the power, I'm not going to help. Is that what she means? I hope not.
The body's not going to accept this bill without amendments. I believe the bill's dead. With amendments, it may see light.
Vice Speaker Tina Munya Barnes making amendments to limit the transfer of authority to the governor, standing in opposition of giving her unilateral authority to hire or fire any GDOE employee, hire a new superintendent, or have control over federal funds. Committee Chair on Education Senator Chris Barnett speaking out against Barnes's amendments, saying the bill overall has far-reaching negative impacts.
She's already assembling the executive agencies to go out into the schools and help fix our schools. So she doesn't need the authority to run GDOE. GDOE needs help. They don't need to be taken over in a political power grab.
In response, the Vice Speaker expressing frustration after she hoped for her colleagues to add to her amendments.
We out there saying the governor didn't do this, the lieutenant governor didn't do this, they don't want to help, they don't want. The governor brings something down and then we say, no, we don't want to give it to you. Then hafamelagot mo. What do you guys want?
Barnes's amendment ultimately failing. To note, the governor was not present at today's special session.
And the governor's bill ultimately failed to pass through the legislature, receiving 3 ayes, 11 nays, and 1 excused vote.
The Guam Department of Education has updated its list of schools ready to open by next week. 22 schools have passed public health inspections and are ready to welcome students by August 15th. However, of those 22 schools that have sanitary permits, 7 are due for re-inspection this month.
Meantime, 2 more campuses are in the process of inspections with 14 pending. The full list is available on KUAM.com.
And 9 candidates running for mayor and vice mayor don't have to run as write-ins after all.
The Guam Election Commission reversed its decision after it was believed that some did not meet the threshold to advance to the general after the primary, even if they were unopposed. Here's more.
Some candidates for mayor who were told that they'd have to run as write-ins in the general election after allegedly not receiving the minimum number of votes required in the primary wrote to the Guam Election Commission questioning the applicability of the law. On Friday, the GEC informed them they're back on the ballot after a thorough review of precedent.
So with the letters that we received from the mayoral candidates, the Guam Election Commission went back and did research, and we found that in the past, specifically in 2000, the Guam Election Commission was faced with the same issue about not meeting the threshold to go on to the general. So back in 2000, according to the minutes and according to the results of the 2000 primary election, they used the district-wide number. So as the Guam Election Commission, in its standard practice, always tries to be as consistent as possible within the law. So with the interpretation back in 2000, we want to let the candidates know that because of their requests, we went back further and all the way back to 2000 and found those minutes. And hence, we will now use the district-wide number for the threshold.
Pangilinan said the matter will be discussed further at the GEC's August 13 meeting. Now the following candidates won't have to run as write-ins: Agana Heights Republican candidate for mayor John McDonald, Chalampago Ordat Republican candidate for mayor Timothy Flores, Hagat candidate for mayor under the Democrat Party Mark Charfaris, Democrat vice mayor candidate Ruben Herrera, Humatak Democrat candidate for mayor Gilbert Uggan, incumbent Republican mayor of PD Jesse Alleg, Santa Rita Sumay candidate for mayor Jana Luz Salvador, incumbent Republican vice mayor of Tamuning Albert Tovis, and Zonia Republican candidate for mayor Debbie Lujan. Alleg and Charfaris were 2 candidates who wrote to the GEC.
I'm thankful for the Election Commission's work to entertain our requests to reverse the decision. And I'm, of course, elated that they have decided to place our names on the ballot.
I read the law myself, and I believe that there was a misinterpretation. And you got to understand that there's an or there. And the reason why they put an or there was to facilitate a low voter turnout. So if you don't have the 300 votes for mayor, then it goes to the or 4% of the votes cast in that election. And so the other reason why that I said that it applies only to Agate was because what the initial interpretation was the 4% had to come out from the 18,000 plus cast votes island-wide. It doesn't make sense because I am not an island-wide candidate for mayor. I am only a candidate for the village of Agate. I would like to commend Maria Pangilinan, the staff at the Guam Election Commission, and the commissioners, because this has been a very trying and emotional issue for both sides. But under the leadership of Maria Pangilinan, they didn't have their personal feelings get involved. They did their research.
In other news, Guam Police Department spokesperson Officer Berlin Savella said officers are investigating the death of a 33-year-old woman. According to Savella, on August 6th, officers were called to assist the Guam Fire Department after they responded to a report of an expired person during the course of their investigation. They conducted a background check on the situation and identified Eugene Huffman as a suspect in a criminal complaint filed in June. On Wednesday, KUAM reported The arrest of 54-year-old Huffman. He is accused of torturing and sexually assaulting a woman known to him. He was charged with first-degree criminal sexual conduct, aggravated assault, family violence, and felonious restraint. According to court documents, in June, police received a complaint from a woman who was at the hospital. Based upon a doctor's assessment and review, the woman had been badly beaten and may have been sexually assaulted. The victim told officers she could recall being hit in the head with a belt buckle, having her front tooth pulled out with pliers, and being sexually assaulted over the course of 3 days.
When police were responding to the expired person, Huffman was present. Court documents state that when officers asked him about the incidents in June, he replied, "Oh, no, I know about that already." When asked what happened, he stated, quote, "I beat her up." He denies sexually assaulting her, and Sabella says that police are treating the incidents as two separate cases, with the June case closed. The investigation into the expired person remains open. The Criminal Investigation Division is currently working with the medical examiner's office in determining the cause of death through an autopsy.
Friday morning in Presiding Judge Alberto Lomorena's III's courtroom, 32-year-old Jokest Kinzama James was sentenced to 15 years with all but 10 years suspended. In April, James pleaded guilty to vehicular homicide while driving impaired after the 2022 auto pedestrian incident in Hagat that claimed the life of 44-year-old Johnny Kenga. According to court documents, James allegedly hit Kenga with his truck before fleeing the scene. The Guam Police Department eventually tracked him down and stopped him in Tamuning.
James was charged with vehicular homicide while driving impaired as a second-degree felony, vehicular negligence and negligent homicide as third-degree felonies, and driving while impaired and reckless driving with injuries as misdemeanors. Lamarana recognized that James had 2 prior convictions for driving while impaired. The Office of the Attorney General says they will be seeking permanent deportation from Guam and the USA for James, who is a non-U.S. citizen.
About 1,700 residents were able to receive free dental and medical services throughout a week-long Guam Wellness Innovative Readiness Training.
And Smokey Bear celebrates the Big 80. Keep it here. You're watching KUAM.
Half a Day Fresco Fridays on KUAM News. Presented by Fresco Clothing, original custom design apparel of Guam and the Marianas. Located in Hagåtña, just across from the Gani Shopping Center.
Get ready to soak up the savings this summer at Kmart. Since 1995, Kmart has been the ultimate summer destination for everything you need. From groceries, to outdoor living, to everyday fashions for the family. We've been there for you, 24 hours a day. Kmart is committed to saving you time and money by offering big international and American brands you know, at prices incredibly low. Whether you're finding the perfect shade for that summer glow in our beauty care aisles, firing up your summer cookouts from top brands like Weber and Kenmore, or gearing up for those outdoor camping and beach adventures, Kmart's your one-stop shop for an active, fun-filled summer. So, join the fun and soak up the savings. You'll find everything you need and more, only at Kmart, the ultimate shopping destination in Guam, where savings, quality, and summer fun meet under one roof. Kmart, your 24-hour superstore.
Taco Bell is so good and so cheap.
I know, right? I wonder why.
What if they know we're broke? What if they're trying to be the good guys?
Ah, thanks, Taco Bell!
The Guam Department of Public Health and Social Services celebrates Community Health Center Week from August 4 to August 10, 2024. The public health community centers in Dededo and Inalahan provide an array of services that promote good health for you and your families. Visit our website at dphss.guam.gov for more information. Viva Guam! Biba Public Health Community Health Center Week.
Going for Gold is presented to you by Prime Hydration and C2O Coconut Water, distributed by PDC Wholesale.
And now to the Olympics, as our team will soon make their way back to Guam to return and forevermore, as Jason Salas says, be heralded as island heroes.
That's right, and other communities are welcoming their champs back too, including a breakout star whose medal-winning performance and adorable charm got him trending and made him a national treasure.
It's the soul of Lewiston, Maine, on display in Paris.
Pretty cool seeing guys like Tatum,
Yeah, very cool.
LeBron James wearing their
very
shoes.
Cool. It's a shock, actually, when all of a sudden you see it. You know, there's a picture of them, various pictures of them, and they're dressed in their uniform. And then here's our shoes on their feet. Like, wow, it's fabulous.
But before Team USA athletes could walk in these very special white suede shoes, their journey began right here in this New England factory.
And then on this side, we do the trimming. So lots of handwork here.
Lewiston-based Rancourt & Company was asked to create a shoe for LeBron James, Coco Gauff, and all 592 American athletes for the opening and closing ceremonies. Mike Rancourt leads the company that has been in his family for generations.
At some point, we have 40 people in the company. At some point, every person in the company had, touched the shoes one way or the other.
And how cool is that?
It's tremendous.
Polo Ralph Lauren came calling in 2023 and asked Rancourt to come up with this white buck suede design for this year's Olympics. The Olympic shoes went through this exact process called lasting.
When we're done, we put it in the heater, inside this machine there.
That's how it's done.
Yeah.
That's how it's done. This isn't the first time that Rancourt has made footwear for Team USA athletes. They wore them in Rio, Tokyo, the Winter Games in Beijing, and this year in Paris.
The people around us, the people that don't even know us, I mean, they're coming up and having a conversation with me. Most of it relates to, how proud they are that they're in a community that produced, the Olympic shoes.
But this year has even more meaning. The tragedy that happened not far from here just 10 months ago shook this community.
They've been saddened by it, and they struggle with it when it comes to thinking in terms of what it means for our community, our families.
Rancourt says he wants people to know that this is what Lewiston is all about.
Producing, the Olympic shoes is something that'll bring them, the whole community, some satisfaction.
Yeah, oh yes, most definitely. I take a lot of pride. Not many people know how to do this anymore. So.
But you do.
Yeah, yeah, one of the very few.
How much pride do you have in seeing a piece of Lewiston on the world stage?
This particular event is really a great view of how Lewiston people come together, create this product, and enjoy what we do.
Going for Gold is presented to you by Prime Hydration and C2O Coconut Water, distributed by PDC Wholesale. POV is brought to you in collaboration with United Airlines. Special thanks to the Office of the Governor of Guam.
All 8 athletes from Team Guam have hit their marks in their respective events for the world to see.
Though no medals will be coming home, the biggest win for them is having an island that always has their backs as they gear up for the next competition. Nick Delgado reports.
The final day of play for Team Guam had Raina Taitingfong back in the water for the women's 200-meter race. She crossed the finish in 7th at 1 minute 5 seconds. Team Poland's Dorota Boraska was first with a time of 47.92 seconds. In the quarterfinals of the same event, Taitingfong's time was 1 minute 7 seconds. Ukraine's Ludmila Luzon, who finished at 47.92 seconds. Then, in wrestling, Raquel Aquino fought hard for just over a minute against Brazil's Julia Panalbi. Aquino taking defeat via victory by fall. Still, she is now a double Olympian. Guam National Olympic Committee President Rick Blas.
Most of the athletes have done their best coming in, and oftentimes, the challenge with many of our members is that we come from a small community of sports people, and just trying to match up to the rest of the world is still a struggle for many of them. So coming to the Olympic Games, then the reality sets in for them. And but I'm always mindful to tell them that if they did their best and they're done with the competition, leave it at the field of play. Don't bring it out with them. They just need to understand what happened, how to get beyond that. And if their goal is to pursue this again, then they need to understand what they needed to do.
And getting back to training is what many of them say is what's next after Paris. Team Guam will join the other Olympians Sunday for the closing ceremony.
What an opportunity for Guam's Great Eight: Maria, Manami, Regine, Joseph, Raina, Mia, Nicola, and Raquela. Your island is forever proud of each of you, our Olympians. We look forward to following you on your continued athletic journeys. Thank you all as well for following us for your Pacific Olympic voyage coverage from Paris 2024. And the next time I'm back on the air, I'll be back home on Guam. Nick Delgado, KUAM News, Paris.
Thanks, Nick. In other news, the pop-up medical clinic at the Guam Community College wrapped up Thursday. About 1,700 residents were able to receive free dental and medical services throughout the week-long outreach event. Public Health Acting Director Therese Areola shares the success of the event.
It went very well. Numbers-wise, we saw up to 1,700, around 1,700 residents, getting everything from medical, school, sports clearance, immunization, dental work, dentistry, optometry. And so I myself went today. I went around thanking people, thanking my staff, thanking the different community partners that joined us. Of course, thanking the military for just having such a wonderful community event that is really a win-win for our community.
It was part of the 2024 Guam Wellness Innovative Readiness Training, where 147 service members from the Air Force, Reserve, Navy, and Guam Air National Guard partnered with the Guam Department of Public Health and Social Services to provide no-cost medical services.
Well, Smokey Bear made a special birthday appearance outside the Guam Museum in Hagåtña Thursday. Over 100 community members stopped by for the Guam Department of Agriculture, Forestry, and Soil Resources Division's outreach event to celebrate 80 years of wildfire prevention and to learn about native trees. Forestry Chief Christine Camacho Ferrin says the highlight of the evening was when we awarded 4 awesome community members: Ferrin Tyron, the Guam guy Teddy Lee Conception, Cody Dowless, and Vincent M. Bamba of Green Gestures, with Smokey Bear Awards for outstanding contributions for fire prevention and the Smokey Bear program. Smokey Bear reminds the community only you can prevent wildfires. Ferrin adds everyone plays a role in fire prevention, from your backyard, your home, your street, your village, and for all of Guam.
Now for a look at your world at home.
And while we normally show you notable neighborhoods, here's simply a view underneath the coconut tree with the beautiful sky above.
Want some milk?
Do you ever wonder how your favorite products make their way into your local stores? Most arrive on state-of-the-art Matson vessels that transport containers of food, household items, equipment, and supplies into the islands every week. Because we know that you depend on us, we work closely with our partners to ensure that our shipments arrive on time, all the time, so you can find your favorite products when you need them. We transport the region's most precious cargo that supports successful businesses and promotes a better quality of life for our families. Matson is proud to have been the hometown shipping carrier for Guam, the CNMI, and Micronesia for the past 25 years, and you can count on us to be here for generations to come.
Foodie Call is brought to you by Pepsi. That's what I like.
Hey guys, welcome to another edition of Free Call. I'm Ayla.
And I'm Jordan, and we're here at Stonefish Grill in Upper Tumont to get to-go lunch plates.
Hey guys, so we're back at the studio and we have all of our lunch plates. So which one do you think you want to try first?
I think I'm gonna try the shrimp first.
I want to try the Calgary first. They all look so good. So each lunch plate comes with white rice, an egg, your meat of choice, kimchi noodles, and a cucumber.
The shrimp is cooked really well.
Wow, that's really good.
Yeah. And that egg is seasoned really well.
The meat is really flavorful.
I'm gonna try the mac salad.
Yeah. What do you think your favorite thing to get out of Fiesta is?
I really love red rice and
Crossing.
ribs. How about you?
I'm the same, but I love Kelligwin. I can't eat a Fiesta plate without Kelligwin.
There you go. I need to try the kimchi noodles.
It's really good. It's like pancit, but like kimchi.
Mmm,
Right?
that is so flavorful. That is really good.
So good. Mmm. Mmm. This is really good.
So each one comes with cucumber, white rice, egg, kimchi noodles, and a meat of your choice, whether it's kalbi, chicken, pork, or shrimp.
This goes perfectly with a crisp Pepsi. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Am I right?
They give you good sized pieces of pork too.
Yeah. This is a really great deal for $12, guys. Like, this is jam-packed.
Don't forget you can get these plates for only $12 at Stonefish Grill. Shout out to our friends at Pepsi and Stonefish Grill for sponsoring and taking care of us today.
Yep, guys, this was delicious. See you guys at the next free call. Bye!
Foodie Call is brought to you by Pepsi. That's what I like.
Okay, Hafa everybody. Tickets are now on sale for Fanatsu Familao. And if you're not familiar with what that is, that's the Guam Women's Chamber of Commerce annual conference. They deal with amazing topics, really good keynote speakers, inspiring information. You need to check it out, and you need to be there because it happens on September 19th over at the Deuces starting at 8:30 in the morning. Good food, good people, good vibes, good lessons learned. Early bird pricing, as you see there on the screen, available until the 19th. Make sure to get in early. Our friends downtown at Carabao Brewing in the capital of Hagåtña are holding a off to school, not back to school, but off to school. And they want you to participate. It is happening on Saturday, so go there at high noon. Speaking of good things, a lot of good things happening at Carabao Brewing. We love those guys. They always take care of us when we show up there, and they're going to take care of you too. Make sure to participate and get your tickets at guamtime.net. And there is a town hall happening up in the CNMI in Susupi, so make sure to make plans. Check it out. That's on the 14th starting at 5 in the afternoon. It's only an hour long, but you need to be involved with the Indigenous Affairs Office. All right, that is what's happening on News Bites. Island Weekend's coming up. Have a good one. Be safe.
Now to your Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club shout out submitted on KUAM.com.
And the winner of a yummy ice cream cake.
Happy birthday to Ali Jo Sablan Chaco, wishing you all the best on your special day. The entire family sends you love, hugs, and kisses. May you and the family be forever blessed. Alleluia, your family says. Happy 7th birthday to Zairi Hope Pokagwi Pangilinan and to our beautiful, unique, and smart Sessa. May your day be filled with lots of laughter, love, and all the joy in the world that your heart can hold. You are growing up into such an amazing little girl, and we are truly proud and blessed to celebrate another year with you. You are one of a kind and deserve everything this special day brings. Cheers to 7 amazing years, our baby girl, and may God continue to bless you with many more birthdays. Lots of love, hugs, and kisses from Mommy, Angel Daddy, your sissies and brothers, and the whole Bellator's familia. And happy belated birthday to Sage Camille. Happiest blessed birthdays to our 4-year-old Diva Sage. With the biggest heart of gold, enjoy your special day. Love you always, Mommy, Daddy, and the whole family. And Rain Zenny Cabrera Baldwin, happy 5th birthday to our beautiful little girl. May our princess who exudes happiness have a birthday that's as joyful and radiant as her beautiful smile. We want God to provide you with eternal memory of the enchantment you bring into our lives on this particular day. Cheers on your little birthday, our little sunshine. We hope you have a lovely day today and a year filled with health, happiness, and prosperity to follow. Mommy, Daddy, your big brothers, Rodian and Nathan, your big sister Nicolette, Grandma Baldwin, Auntie Sandy, Auntie Jeannie, your cousins Francois and Christian, Ron, Grandpa Cabrera, Uncle Fernando, and cousin Isaiah, Gucci, and Cap all send you their love. And happy birthday to Kibby Duenas. Happy birthday, Kibby. Cheers to another year of gains, goals, and many more memories. Not just a few, but many. And this week's winner of a Cold Stone Creamery ice cream cake is Rose Perez Espinoza, who celebrated birthday number 80 on Tuesday, August 6th. Miss Rose, we hope you have a wonderful, wonderful birthday.
That's your primetime show. Thanks for watching. I'm Tomas Maglonia.
And I'm Destiny Cruz. Have a safe evening and have a great weekend.
Hafaday, welcome to a special episode of Sinamay Weekly. I say special because it's our first episode that we're shooting here in Guam at the KUAM News studio. Of course, you might also recognize our guest today on the show. He's the commissioner in the Guam Consolidated Commission on Utilities, but he also is serving on the Commonwealth Utilities Corporation Board in Saipan after being appointed by Sinamay Governor Arnold Palacios as the off-island board member with utility management experience. Of course, I'm talking about Simon Sanchez. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thanks, Ajus Masi, for having me. Thank you, Tomas.
And we share the unique role of being somewhat of a hybrid between Guam and the NMI, so I'm so glad we finally get to meet in person here in Guam.
Well, you know, we have a long history together, culturally and linguistically, and our political history has changed a little bit, but our bonds haven't. And I have thoroughly enjoyed the opportunity to try to help in the CNMI when Governor Palacios, my former classmate here in Guam, you know, reminding us of that close connection. And my other classmate was defunto Speaker Ben Pangilinan. So 2 residents of the CNMI that I've come to know, and we've always maintained a close relationship. We used to have a business up in the CNMI, and some of the economic challenges affected our business as it continues to affect the CNMI now. So it's a challenging time, but I on the energy side, I'm very confident that we can duplicate the emerging success that the Guam Power Authority is performing now with more efficient conventional generation combined with renewables, and the CNMI is ready to embark on its first renewable energy project. And we have the same challenges that, you know, 20 years ago when I first began serving on the Guam CCU. I see the parallels, but I also see the opportunities to improve the way we provide energy and then start working on our water and wastewater needs in the Northern Marianas. We have to take care of these islands. You know, that's our responsibility. And I'm just happy that I've been given a chance to try to help out in the CNMI.
Right, I think I recall when you were appointed in March and you were confirmed in June, it kind of refreshed people's memories that we do have an off-island seat for CUC. I want to get your impression because, you know, of course you have a you know, breadth of experience, many years in this field. When you first started your board work at the Commonwealth Utilities Corporation in the CNMI,
What was your immediate reaction of the lay of the land, just looking at what you were now also a part of leading?
Well, we know it's a challenging economic time for the Commonwealth, and when the economy is weak, then you have the challenges of how do you have revenue to employ your people, to get your businesses to generate sales and pay for their bills and pay for their return on investment, and then the government needs revenue as well, and that is a challenging time. But I also know that at least, you know, the energy is sort of the cost side of the equation. You know, we don't necessarily make the economy go, but everyone gets a monthly bill from the CC or from GPA or the CUC, and it's saying here's what you got to pay for power, here's what you got to pay for water and waste water, and our job in the utilities is to get those costs as low as possible while still providing reliable service. And the CNMI, like Guam, and still has a lot of work to do in terms of rebuilding its infrastructure. And one of the lessons learned, you know, I've been in this business on Guam for over 20 years now. You can make the changes, you can make the paradigm shifts. It's not going to happen overnight, so you got to be patient with it, and you have to be consistent with it. You know, sometimes I use the analogy, you know, when your doctor says, hey, lose some weight, eat more wisely, do this and that. You don't yell at the doctor, you know, you try to follow their guidance, right? Of course, in the political process, first off, in a democracy, you're allowed to yell at the people you elect, right? I mean, they represent, we represent them, and our voters expect service and improvement. But we also know that at a macro level, change takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. But the most important thing is to try to be consistent with the policies. I think the CNMI has had some challenges in making better decisions when it comes to infrastructure. Because especially when times are bad, you got to be even smarter about it than when things are good. But I'm excited. I'm very grateful for the opportunity that the governor and the Senate has given to me to try to help. And I've thoroughly enjoyed coming. I'm in my third year there now, and I know some people are going, hey, when are you going to make something happen? But some of this takes time. But I've thoroughly enjoyed going back to the CNMI. You know, we had a business there and we shut it down almost 10 years ago, right? But now it's, you know, like putting on old shorts or old Zoris, right? You just throw them back on, meet some old friends, made a lot of new friends, and they all want the same thing: reliable service at the lowest possible price, and that's our mission at the CUC. No different than here on Guam, and we've come a long way on Guam. We can duplicate that same success in the Northern Marianas. I'm confident of that. But I always remind my colleagues on the CUC, I'm just a guest. The real decisions have to be made by the governor, the Senate, and the House. I see lots of legislation emerging from the Senate and the House, and they've been kind enough to ask for some feedback. And I mostly say try to duplicate the Guam laws as long as they fit within the laws of the CNMI, but conceptually most of them do. Let's look at public-private partnerships because we know when you don't have a lot of money, sometimes you have to use other people's money to provide a solution, and then you pay them back over time. So PPPs, public-private partnerships, have worked very well on Guam. I remember 20 years ago telling then a very much younger John Beneventi and Ken Flores, you know, in 20 years we may not need to own any generation. We can just buy it from private partners. And you know, privatization, most power companies are private, but not all of them. In Hawaii, it is a private company, and just today we're reading about they're having the load shedding blues over there. So privatization in and of itself isn't a guarantee of good service. But right now, there are companies in the region that have bid on Guam projects and are now asking, hey, is the CNMI going to do some renewables? And I'm saying yes. So there are companies that are willing to loan some money, advance some investment in assets that can improve our energy situation and be paid back over time with the savings they create. Particularly when it comes to energy, the biggest part of the power bill is fuel, right? And it's no different than when you drive into the gas station. You look at the price per gallon, you got two choices. You either pay the price per gallon or you drive away without any gas in your car. Well, you know, in our business, we can't tell our ratepayers, oh, we didn't buy any fuel this month, sorry, there'll be no power. You have to do what you have to do.
Right, and I did want to end this segment here and pick up, we have a lot more to talk about in terms of how to understand your bill, the future of renewable energies in the CNMI, and some leadership changes happening at the CUC. And so we'll be right back right after this.
Guam's auto appearance specialist, Elegant Reflections, has been providing the automotive industry with professional detailing and car care products at its highest quality, from complete detailing, full interior detailing, exterior detailing, headlamp restoration, hand washing, seat and carpet shampoo, engine degreasing, undercarriage cleaning, paint sealant, fabric protection, paint oxidation removal, and so much more. Visit us at our new location. Call 646-5555 for an appointment. Elegant Reflections, Guam's auto appearance specialist, over 20 years of experience.
The Guam Department of Public Health and Social Services celebrates Community Health Center Week from August 4 to August 10, 2024. The Public Health Community Centers in Dededo and Inalahan provide an array of services that promote good health for you and your families. Visit our website at dphss.guam.gov for more information. Viva Guam! Viva Public Health Community Health Center Week!
Hafa, welcome to another special episode of CNMI Weekly, shot right here in our KUAM studios in Guam. We're of course speaking with the off-island board member Simon Sanchez of the Commonwealth Utilities Corporation, no stranger to anyone here on Guam, but you also serve the capacity in the CNMI. Now I wanted to talk about understanding the bill we get every month, because it's election season. Everyone's talking about that utility bill. We've enjoyed the ARPA-funded vouchers. They're gone for the CNMI. And so when I'm looking at my bill, you know, oftentimes the question is, I'm being charged triple, quadruple what I actually use. So how would you explain that to someone who's looking at it wondering, why am I paying all of this?
Yeah, so I'm not quite sure when you say you're being charged, but basically, you know, quadruple. But the idea is that there's two parts of your bill. All right, you have the fixed costs, which is usually paid for by the base rate, and that pays for management, labor, repairs that are done to the system by the CUC. In Guam, it pays for debt. The CUC doesn't have a lot of municipal debt like GPA does, but if we had borrowed a lot of money, you would pay that out of the base rate. And the base rate, even in the CNMI and on Guam, has not changed in over a decade. So on the fixed cost side, it's a smaller portion of your bill, and that rate hasn't changed in quite some time. The part that drives everybody crazy is no different than when you drive into a gas station, where all of a sudden it's $5-6 a gallon. Sometimes it's $4.50 a gallon, then it goes back to $5.50. The marketplace that sells fuel, you know, the prices are all derived by the market. If there's war in the Middle East, it drives the cost of oil up. That will drive the cost of fuel. You know, we get the oil from pretty much the same places, particularly here in our part of the region. And then we refine it in Asia, because it's too far away to refine it in the United States. And then we bring it to Guam or the CNMI, right? But oil is a commodity that is traded globally, and it goes up and it goes down, and it's the biggest portion of your bill, right? So when you look at your bill, the part that I think you're saying is 2 or 3 times more, that's the fuel bill. So think of it like your car. You have the car payment, and then you drive into the gas station 3 or 4 times a month to fill up the gas. I'm sure everybody's budget for the car is the gas is now bigger than the payment for the car, right? Or matches it. So so if you want to solve the energy problems, the first thing you have to look at is fuel, oil. The amount of oil that you use is what makes your bill go up significantly. The non-fuel portion of your bill, the fixed cost, that hasn't changed in a decade. But the gas portion of your bill, the fuel portion of your bill, the oil portion of the power bill, that we burn oil to create the energy, that's what goes up and down with the marketplace. And that's what you have to attack. So in Guam, we have focused on getting more efficient conventional generation and mixing it with more renewables. And I think that formula will work well in the CNMI. It's the same approach we should take. Renewables can play a great role in reducing the amount of fuel that we burn. And renewables are generally a fixed cost. They don't go up and down with oil. You're usually, in Guam, we're paying a solar farm provider 10 to 12 cents a kilowatt hour, right? For the next 25 years, right? Our LEAC is 23, 25, 26 cents. The FAC can be 23, 25, 26 cents. So if you can get solar energy for 10 or 11 cents, you're saying, okay, you like that price. It's significantly cheaper. But the sun only shines part of the day, creating solar energy. The wind is inconsistent. So how does renewable energy, how do you get reliable renewable energy when it depends on the good Lord's weather?
Right. Yeah, I want to talk about that in length later in the program, but I do want to ask you one more question. Maybe we can call this, myth or reality, because online we always hear about, oh, part of our bill is that we're subsidizing all of the unpaid government bills.
Well, that's an issue I've raised. I've raised because the CUC's owed $86 million. And
is that from one agency alone? I mean, the bulk of it I know is
it's probably it's mostly the hospital, right?
We know that there was a MOU.
But we know the government in the CNMI, even like the government of Guam, when times are tough, we all subsidize our hospital to Northern Marianas and Guam, and you have to have the money to subsidize that hospital. And the subsidy includes usually the power bill, because you're always paying, you want to always be paying payroll, doctors and nurses, right? You got to buy some medicine. So the one bill that lags is the power bill.
So how much, can you quantify that? How much of my bill every month is being used to subsidize government agencies?
Well, I say it a little bit differently. The ones that are the people that are paying the power bill, they are subsidizing the ones that aren't. And that's a challenge for the government of the CNMI to address, and first to recognize that point, because I think sometimes, and I've been in the legislature in Guam, I understand the dynamics of governors and legislatures and congresses, but in the CNMI we've put ourselves in a position where all of a sudden, my brother owes me $86 million, but I can't shut down, I can't close down my brother, I can't close down the hospital. So when you recognize that subsidy is going to continue, you have to also commit to, well, if I'm going to subsidize it, one thing I have to subsidize is the power bill, because, in Guam we're elected. In the CNMI you're appointed, but to me the dynamics are no different in that way. It's not fair that the government gets free power and everyone else has to pay for their power, and I think some of the challenges of the CUC is a reflection of that approach to public policy and energy policy has created a situation where nobody's winning. I often tease my classmate, Governor Palacios. I said, if we had that $86 million, if that had been paid into the system, and it's not just under his administration, it's been there for a while, right? But if that money had been paid in to the CUC, then that's the kind of money that you could buy more efficient generation that burns less fuel, and when you burn less fuel, you can lower that power bill, and everybody benefits from that investment, right?
The long issue of updating infrastructure, right?
Right, and so, but as a policymaker, and I've been in their shoes. You have to, sometimes the trade-offs, you just have to force yourself to make those trade-offs. It's kind of like when the doctor says, if you want to live longer, you need to do these things. I mean, you can yell at the doctor for a little bit, but after a while, you have to make a decision. Either I follow the advice of people that are saying this is a better way, or I don't. But if I don't, then the consequences emerge, and that's sort of where we are now. And then you have outside forces like tourism has really declined in the CNMI and in Guam for all sorts of reasons. Then outside forces step in and make it even worse, right? So the whole idea is to try to stabilize the situation, recognizing that sometimes there's things beyond your control, but for the things you can control, right? Getting more fuel efficient generation, finding a way where the government pays its power bills in addition, like everyone else does, and recognizing that the government's not any more special than Tanta Maria, and we make her pay her bills in 30, 45 days. We give years to the government. That's a recipe for a fiesta table that we don't like, and unfortunately that's sort of where we're at, and we need to change that paradigm.
All right, well, stay tuned, because we're going to talk about solutions, specifically green solutions that we can be expecting in the CNMI. We'll be right back right after this.
From the group that brought you Joe Coy and Rob Schneider, Guam Comedy brings you the next big Phil-Am comedy sensation, J.R. de Guzman, live on Guam.
My family and I, when we first moved here, we lived in a storage unit. That would have been like the most awesome episode of Storage Wars.
One show only, Saturday, August 31st at the UOG Calvo Fieldhouse.
Your friend, your cousin.
Get your tickets now at guamcomedy.com. J.R. de Guzman, live on Guam. Don't miss the fun.
Welcome back. And so, Simon Sanchez, I just wanted to ask you about renewables, because we did that story a few weeks ago with the new executive director, Kevin Watson, who laid out that there's already a plan in motion for the CNMI's first solar farm. So, yeah, what's the update on that?
So as I understand it, right, we've identified a site because unlike Guam, land tenure is different in the CNMI. So in Guam, we let the private partner find the location for a solar farm, and then that's part of their bid price, and then they bid, right? In the CNMI, the CUC, we need to provide the land, and so we've identified some land that could support a 15 to 20 megawatt solar farm, and I think that's the first. That's a great first step. Guam took the same approach. It built its first solar farm with a public-private partnership, and now we're building even more. And a public-private partnership is very good in the sense that you can get private partners who, they do this for a living. There's power companies that go around the world and build power systems or run power systems for governments, communities, municipalities. And we have quite a few on Guam doing exactly the same thing. And when we don't have money to go get it ourselves, using a private partner's money is the next solution that we should consider. And yeah, you're going to have to pay that money back. But if we borrowed the money and built the solar farm, we'd have to pay that loan back. So either way, you need to pay back what's invested in the assets that would serve you better. But if these assets reduce the power bill, you can take the savings from that power bill and pay the partner and still reduce the overall power bill for our consumers, which is our goal.
Right. What is the timeline, though, reality? Because we put out that story. We hear about plans all the time. But as a board member, what would you say is the timeline for the CNMI actually having this right away?
Well, so I've been pushing to get the bid out, and now that we have an executive director, and I'll go ahead and say it, we've identified, we've got a CFO. And now we got two people to really say, hey, now you got to really push this wagon. Betty, who was the interim, Terlahi, did a great job, right? I mean, and she was trying to do her old job and still be the GM. And now, to me, we've got three strong players. And Mr. Watson, our new CFO, is going to join us shortly. And Betty and everybody in the CUC wants to make it better, right? And they're very dedicated. And so our job at the board is to support that. And so the idea is to put out a bid. So that's the next question: is when can we get that bid out? Because it takes a couple of years to build the solar farm. So it's not going to happen overnight. But in Guam, we had significant number of bids from private businesses, like 300 megawatts. We thought we'd only get 100, 150. We got more than we asked for. And some of those players are saying, is the CNMI going to offer the same thing? And I think we should. And I think that's what our new team is going to work very hard on, is let's get that RFP out. There's interest in building solar farms. The number we're seeing is 15 to 20 megawatts on the land that will provide them. And I've asked them, can we look at Rota and even Tinian? It'd be a smaller scale, but there's no reason that we can't put a solar farm in all those islands. And one other idea I threw out was, do we want the bidder to bid on all three islands? Do we want the bidder to bid on one at a time? I mean, there's flexibility. Our goal is to get the best bid for the ratepayers.
Something is calling, and I can't help it. That's not belong when there ain't no soul. Watch me as I go. This is my mood when I make a move. Watch me as I go. This is my mood when let's take a break. There's no use. My mood when I make a move. This is my mood when
As our viewers might be aware, the CNMI, really when you got on board in this new term at the CUC, just hired its new executive director, Kevin Watson. We interviewed him on this show as well. And the offer has been made to the CFO. Both of those positions were part of a stipulated order that needed to be filled with the qualified people, right? So, I mean, just your comment on that process. You've now, in your first few months, hired two high executive roles for the CUC.
Well, both Guam and the CNMI, sometimes I chuckle that we say we think we work for the people, but in some cases we work for the U.S. EPA. So these consent decrees is the list from U.S. EPA that's saying you need to do this to comply with the Clean Air Act or the Safe Drinking Water Act. And from that list comes infrastructure needs to make the system better, right? So that's what we've got to do. There's no question that the governor, the senators, and the congressional representatives of the CNMI, they want what the people want. They want more reliable service at the lowest possible cost. And we're going to have to work together to do that. But I think the pieces are in place at the CUC. The current CUC board I find to be very intelligent, very aware, and very motivated to try to bring about these changes. And that clearly was the instruction from Governor Palacios. And when I went up for confirmation, the senators, were very nice, but very firm about what the goal is, and there's no disagreement, all right? So, I've really enjoyed working there, and I just ask that the members of the Congress in both houses and the governor that when you have ideas to at least run it past us. There's a lot of work that's been done on Guam that we can duplicate in terms of public policy and the laws. Of course, they have to tailor to the laws of the CNMI, but there's no need to reinvent the wheel. There was, the CNMI PUC became ineffective. It didn't work like it does on Guam. I was on the Guam PUC when it first started, and it's now in its 30th year, and the CCU, even though it's elected, not appointed, is in its 20th year. So you can create processes to help guide the journey that are more independent, more focused on solutions, and I'm hoping that the CNMI, which has these laws in place, will get to a situation where the CUC can come to an independent PUC and say, this is our rate proposal for water, wastewater, or power, and what do you think? Because right now, the fact, we're just doing it automatically, and I understand that, right? But the longer term goal is to really get governance organized in a way that the ratepayers have an independent body looking at what the CUC proposes. You have a capable CUC proposing ideas of merit, and then together you work together, make a decision, and then implement, right? I mean, that's the other thing. We got to move from talking to implementation. That's why this first bid for the solar farm in Saipan is of great interest to me, because there'll be a lot of lessons learned, and we'll get to see what bidders offer. But I'm very confident that we can produce energy with renewable energy in the CNMI at a lower cost than using conventional. This is not to abandon conventional. I mean, people that have boats always tell me you never go out with one engine, right? Mm-hmm. So we're always going to need, not always, we're going to need conventional energy for a long, long, long time until batteries get as cheap as this Fitbit on my wrist, right? And that day will come, and it's coming. And then renewable energy can really take over. And remember, renewable energy is fairly stable. It doesn't do what oil does, right? So it's fairly stable, and it doesn't burn oil. And that's the long-term solution to reducing the cost of energy for the CNMI, and that helps the economy. That'll attract data centers. It'll help tourism be more affordable, and most importantly, it'll help the Maria and the ratepayers breathe a little bit and not have so much of their personal income tied up in that darn power bill, right? And that's our goal.
All right, Simon Sanchez, thanks so much for your time. I'm sure this isn't the last time. I'll see you in Saipan next.
Oh, yep,
and talking, I love what you said, from talking to implementation. And you're not even running for office this year, so I think people would love to hear that.
Well, even if you run for office, we got to go from talking to implementation. That's why people vote for us or don't.
That's right. Well, thank you for your time, and thank you for joining us. Again, this is CNMI Weekly, and we'll see you right here next week. Thank you.